Free bows to the teacher.
May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may you be well and happy. And yes, nice to see you all there. I was wondering why nobody had come to my other meeting, but here you are. All right, so, and restarting here. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. My respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And today we're especially honoring a member of the Sangha, that is the Arahant Bhikkhuni Sanghamitta Teri, on Sanghamitta Day. So let me make sure I'm spotlighted here. Yes, so you can see I'm joined by the painting on the other side of Sanghamitta Teri, the great Arahant Bhikkhuni, arriving in Sri Lanka on the ship with a cutting of the southern branch of the original Bodhi tree from Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha awoke. She carried that sapling to Sri Lanka, and she carried with her the Bhikkhuni Sangha. She was invited by the vice queen of Sri Lanka, who wished to go forth, who wished to become a bhikkhuni. And there were no bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka at that time. So Sanghamita Teri was called from India on mission to Sri Lanka. And we see in this image over there in the bottom right, I know it's very small and blurry there, but that's the king of Sri Lanka coming out into the water up to his neck to receive the tree, the Bodhi tree from the ship, and Sanghamita Teri standing above. So we celebrate this event, this great mission, this great Dhamma mission every year on the full moon of the month of Margasira, generally ends up being in December. It's a little bit earlier than usual this year, and we're actually just a couple days past the full moon, but we're still celebrating, which is a great event for Sri Lanka and also for the Buddha Sasana in general, the Buddha's dispensation. Sanghamita Teri's establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka and her work for, the Buddha's dispensation in general in Sri Lanka, along with others, has had just such great results that come down to our own time, that the lineage from Sri Lanka then spread out throughout the world. And we are still part of that same lineage today, passed down. There are direct lines through Sri Lanka to the Buddhism throughout the world. So honoring that, honoring her work, honoring her as an inspiring example of an arahant. So why remember her though? And what is the purpose of commemorating this sort of historical event each year? It's an example of Sanghanusati. It's the recollection, part of the recollection of the Sangha, which was a recommended kind of meditation that the Buddha said we should do, that it is one of the 6 recollections that are recommended by the Buddha. And these historical events are opportunities for us to recollect the Sangha. And recollecting the Sangha actually is something that, at least in monastic life, we do pretty much every day as part of our morning and evening chanting every day. We chant the recollection of the Sangha. So let me chant this for you very briefly. Many of you will know this. Some it might be new. I'll chant it in Pali and then English. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Samiti patipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho yadidang chattari porisayuga atta porisabhogala esa bhagavato sawaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo Anjalikadaniyo Anuttarang Punya Ketang Lokasati. They are the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, who have practiced directly, who have practiced insightfully, those who practice with integrity. That is the four pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. These are the Blessed One's disciples. Such ones are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect. They give occasion for incomparable goodness to arise in the world. I chant my praise to this Sangha. I bow my head to this Sangha. So this is part of what we recollect every morning and every evening here in the monastery. Those who have grown up in a Theravada Buddhist culture probably know this by heart from their early childhood. But it's good to really not just be reciting it rote, but really be considering, what does this mean? Why are we recollecting this? What is the importance? What is to be gained from reflecting on the qualities of the Sangha? So first off, let me explain what is the Sangha. This word gets used a lot. And literally it just means a group. But in this case, it's talking about a group of noble ones. In what I just chanted, it says the 4 pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. What that means is those who have realized some stage of awakening. There are 4 stages. There's stream entry, there's once return, non-return, and full awakening. And at each stage, there are additional fetters and defilements that fall away from us, things that are binding us to this life, to this circle of life and death. And they fall away when we have seen through. And so there's these 4 stages, and then there are 4 pairs. There's those who are practicing to attain that stage and those who have realized it. So the one who's on the path and the one who has experienced the fruit for each of the 4 stages. That's the 4 pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. And so this is what they call the Arya Sangha, the noble Sangha. And Sangha also traditionally is used for the monastic Sangha, the bhikkhus, the bhikkhunis. It does not mean that all of the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis are noble ones. They're not. But they're Sangha in terms of agreement that they have joined the lineage that the Buddha passed down, joined this organization. And they have the task of sort of carrying the Dhamma forward in the world, being committed to that full time, and sort of being worthy of honor for that reason, whether, worthy of support at least, that it's for the benefit of the world if the Dhamma can continue. Sangha these days is often used for just a group of individuals coming together for their Dhamma practice, for their meditation, for their, to listen to Dhamma talks. When there's a community coming together for that, sometimes they'll use the word Sangha for that. Traditionally, that would not be so. Traditionally, those who are not ordained, who would be coming together or practicing the Dhamma, they're certainly part of the Buddha's dispensation. They're part of the 4 assemblies of the Buddha. The Buddha said that he wanted his bhikkhus, his monks, to be well practiced, learned, capable of transmitting the Dhamma. He said he wanted his bhikkhunis, the female monks, to be well practiced, learned, capable of transmitting the Dhamma. He said for the upasakas, the male lay disciples, he wanted them to be well practiced, learned, capable of transmitting the Dhamma. For those who were the female lay disciples, upasikas, he wanted them to be well practiced, learned, capable of transmitting the Dhamma. So for all four assemblies, and we can say also, sometimes they say fourfold assembly. Today we can say manifold assembly, knowing that there's more than just four out there. But these assemblies are certainly part of the Buddha's intention and plan, and part of the work of the Dhamma in the world. But it's not the same as what is meant by the Sangha. The Sangha, the noble Sangha, those who have attained some stage of awakening, who have realized something, who have seen something true. There are members of that Sangha in all four assemblies, all the many assemblies. There are awakened ones among the monastics, among the lay disciples. And those noble ones are the ones who are meant when we talk about taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And so coming back now to the question of how to take refuge in that Sangha, because they represent the efficacy of the Dhamma in the world. They represent the fact that it is possible in this world to awaken. It is possible to live in a different way. It is possible to see in a different way, understand in a different way. It is possible to come out of all the things that are blocking us and defiling us. And when we meet a member of the Sangha, somebody who really has had some sort of transformation through the Dhamma, some real serious transformation through the Dhamma, that can be felt, that can be known, just that they're living in a different way. And that can inspire us. So at any level, from the mere stream enterer up to the arahant, they're members of the Sangha, and as worthy of gifts, worthy of offerings, worthy of hospitality. I'm going to read something here from the commentary about the benefits of recollection of the Sangha. This is from the Visuddhimagga. It's a commentary written quite a while after the time of the Buddha, but a very famous and well-regarded one. So it says, and I want to say this was pointed out to me by Pia Tan, who's a scholar who has a wonderful resource guide about Sanghanusati that I was looking at. So that's how I came across this. But I think it's very helpful. It says, when someone is devoted to this recollection of the Sangha, they are respectful and deferential to the Sangha. They attain great faith, great mindfulness, great wisdom, and great merit. They have zest and gladness. They conquer fear and dread. They are able to withstand pain. They come to feel that they are living in the presence of the Sangha. And their body, while occupied with the recollection of the Sangha's virtues, is worthy of veneration as an uposatha hall. That means the space where the Sangha members come together. In the Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha, we come together on the full moon day, the new moon day, to observe the uposatha, to purify ourselves. We must, if there's anything that we've done previously during anything that we need to confess, anything we need to clear up, anything we need to purify, we do that before we come together on the uposatha days, the full moon and the new moon, in the hall. And so it's a place of purity, It's a place of the Sangha gathering. So it says, their body, while occupied with the recollection of the Sangha's virtue, is worthy of veneration as in Uposatha hall. Their mind tends towards the attainment of the Sangha's virtues. When they are confronted by an opportunity for transgression, due to their clear recollection of the Sangha's good qualities, moral shame and moral fear, as though he were before the Sangha itself. If they penetrate no higher, they would at least cross over to a happy destiny. Therefore, one who is truly wise should surely cultivate heedfulness. In this way, one always has great power through recollection of the Sangha. I could give a whole talk on moral shame and moral fear. I won't right now. I know shame and fear don't sound that good, but one way that this is explained is respect for oneself and respect for others. If you respect yourself enough, then you will not do anything bad. You'll say, I'm better than this. I don't need to do this, if you have that sense of self-respect. And if you have a sense of respect for others, then you will not harm them. You'll be afraid of harming them. And so this sense of self-respect, sense of respect for others, prevents us from doing wrong, from doing harm. These are the great protectors of the world. And it's true that when people come to the monastery, often they're on their best behavior, right? They're coming into the hall, they're coming into this place that is considered sacred. And recollection of the Sangha is an opportunity to bring that into yourself, be inspired by that, to bring that where you are, to make the space around you a sacred space, a space that is suitable for a noble one. And so, now this is more talking than usual, but with that, let's begin our meditation, our Sanghanusati meditation, with the inspiration especially of Arahant Sanghamitta as an exemplar of the work of the Sangha in the world, as a noble one, moving through the world with great benefit for all. So, as always, just settling into your meditation posture, knowing you've come into a sacred space of some sort. You've found a steady seat. You're grounded on the earth. You're sitting upright. Not too tight, not too loose. Strong, flexible, upright, dignified, and balanced. Balanced and at ease. At ease because of that inner dignity. And let the intention come, the breath in the body. Breath comes in, the body expands. As it goes out, the body contracts. You may feel it most clearly with the flow of air at the nostrils, with the rise and fall of the chest, the rise and fall of the belly. Taking a moment to settle with the simplicity of the breath. In the body, fitted here in a sacred place with the dignity of simplicity. Of knowing what you're doing and why. Being pointed in the right direction. Resting in the simple dignity of the breath. From this place of simplicity and settling and dignity, invite in an image of the Sangha in your mind. Whether this is one inspiring, noble individual, or whether it's the long line, those in robes, some sense of closeness with an awakened one or awakened ones, as if they're walking into the room here with you now. As if they too are bowing to the Buddha and taking their seats. Moving mindfully, moving peacefully, settling down and sitting. Meditating together with us. Someone sitting so still, so grounded, so nobly. Observe the qualities of that person or those people. See if you can recognize what is it that makes them noble. The noble disciples of the Buddha have entered the path of cultivating virtue, concentration, and wisdom in order to eradicate passion, hatred, and delusion. Therefore, the community of disciples of the Buddha is supatipanno, practicing well. I take refuge in the community of disciples of the Buddha that is supatipanno, practicing well. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha who is supatipanno, practicing well. The noble disciples of the Buddha follow the straight path to Nibbana, the Noble Eightfold Path, the direct path. Therefore, the community of disciples of the Buddha is Ujjupatipanno, practicing directly. I take refuge in the community of disciples of the Buddha that is Ujjupatipanno, practicing directly. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha who is Ujjupatipanno, practicing directly. The noble disciples of the Buddha follow the path leading to the realization of the Four Noble Truths, the knowledge, the insight. Therefore, the community of disciples of the Buddha is Nyaya Patipanno, practicing insightfully. I take refuge in the community of the disciples of the Buddha that is Nyaya Patipanno, practicing insightfully. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha who is Nyaya Patipanno, practicing insightfully. The noble disciples of the Buddha teach the Dhamma and spread the Dhamma in the world with great reverence to Dhamma. Therefore, the community of disciples of the Buddha is Sami Jipatipano, practicing with integrity. I take refuge in the community of disciples of the Buddha that is Sami Jipatipano, practicing with integrity. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha who is Sami Jipatipano, practicing with integrity. The noble disciples of the Buddha are 4 pairs of persons and 8 types of individuals. They consist of those who are in the path and those who have reached the stages of stream entry, once returning, non-returning, and arahantship. I take refuge in the noble disciples who are 4 pairs of persons and 8 types of individuals. I pay homage to the noble disciples who are 4 pairs of persons and 8 types of individuals. The noble disciples of the Buddha who are on the path and attained the stages of enlightenment are worthy of offerings, worthy of hospitality, worthy of gifts, worthy of respect. I take refuge in the community of disciples of the Buddha that is worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha that is worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect. the noble disciples of the Buddha who are on the path and attained the stages of enlightenment, by the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. They give occasion for incomparable goodness to arise in the world. By allowing them to flourish, we allow our own flourishing and flourishing of the world. I take refuge in the community of disciples of the Buddha. It is the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. I pay homage to the community of disciples of the Buddha. It is the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. As you continue to imagine sitting together with this noble Sangha, know that the qualities we've just mentioned, they don't belong to any individual. They're simply the natural working of the Dhamma in the hearts of those who practice. We can bring these qualities into our own hearts and let them transform us. Let them liberate us. And bring us as well into that true nobility and dignity of the heart. again, respects to Arahant Sanghamita Terry, to all the Arahants, the Noble Sangha, but especially appreciating today the transmission from Arahant Sanghamita Terry to the woman who requested her travel to Sri Lanka, Anulatisa Terry, at one time the Queen Anula Devi, became a bhikkhuni and who also became an arahant. And in fact, seated next to me here, we have the sacred relics of both of these arahant Terrys, both of these women. The relics of Sanghamita Terry are here. The relics of Anulatisa Terry are here. So we have been sitting together with them throughout this time. And may you feel the blessings of that. And consider yourself a potential member of this lineage. If you allow this to sink in, if you allow this change of heart and mind to happen for you too. Well, thank you for joining me in this. And wonderful to see you all here. Invite any questions or comments or sharing reflections. Has anyone done Sanghanusati before as a formal meditation? Daniel, yes.
Yeah. I've not, so this would be the first time. I had a question about you talked earlier at the beginning, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, about the fourfold Sangha and the sort of four states leading to enlightenment, and then those who are on the paths to those states. Is that correct? And so that's what we would qualify as the Noble Sangha, correct? Those on the path to stream entry, those who've achieved stream entry, those on the path, and so forth. Right.
Yes. For the Arya Sangha, that's what that means.
Got it. Okay. Which is different than the Sangha, or?
Well, there's the Arya Sangha, the Noble Sangha. There's also what they call Sammuti Sangha, the Sangha by agreement. That is the Bhikkhu Sangha or Bhikkhuni Sangha. There's agreement that I'm a Bhikkhuni. The other Bhikkhunis agreed on it, so now I am. And that's how that works. It doesn't mean that all the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis are noble ones, but we do use Sangha also for Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha. But that's not the noble Sangha that we take refuge in. The noble Sangha is those who have attained or are on the path to attaining the stages of awakening.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. That makes sense.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No. Sorry, I'm seeing now that it was hard to hear me. Sorry, I missed that earlier. Karina, yes.
Hello, Venerable. Yeah, hope maybe that'll make a difference. I really appreciated the whole thing, but especially at the beginning, the qualities that one develops by practicing Sanghanusati. Just reading those out loud, I feel like I could meditate on those qualities as well while I hold myself in the presence of the Noble Sangha. Yeah, I just really like that. But just to follow up on Daniel's question, I'm confused about what does it mean to be on the way to?
Right. Well, that is a point of controversy. There's the Abhidhamma interpretation, which has become sort of the orthodox Theravada interpretation, which is that there's a mind moment where one attains the path, and it is followed immediately by a mind moment where one attains the fruit. So that it's boom, boom, 1, 2. And in that case, one is only on the path for, an instant and then attains immediately. So that's from Abhidhamma. That's sort of later teachings, later interpretation. And it gets very detailed and intricate, and I don't want to discount all of it entirely. It does seem different from what we can see in the suttas. For instance, there's the Dakina Vibhanga Sutta, the discourse on offerings, the analysis of offerings, like what is the most meritorious thing that one can offer. And it lists different offerings to different kinds of individuals, including those who are on the path versus those who have attained the fruit. And you can't give an offering to somebody in a split second right before they attain the fruit, right? So it seems clear that there are those who are on the path for some extended period of time before realizing the fruit of that. And so what exactly does it mean? It's not entirely clear. And there is, as I say, there's controversy and discussion about this. And so if you want to study, I'm sure you can find much more learned people than me arguing about this, or, well, I shouldn't say arguing, but debating, discussing, sharing ideas about this topic. But yeah, it is like once one is on the path, the idea is you're not going back, even if you haven't like fully, you're not fully free from those particular fetters yet that fall away at that stage of the path. But you've sort of seen how you get there, and you're headed that direction. And being at least pointed in the right direction towards that next stage, that would be being on the path. And somebody who has faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, who is practicing sincerely, who is doing their best, committed to the teachings of the Buddha. Again, I don't want to make a definitive statement about this. I'm just one bhikkhuni with my own ideas, and I'm junior, but I sort of think somebody who is firmly committed to the path, who has faith, who is really just putting all their efforts into going in that direction, I think they will go in that direction. I think their actions in that regard will be effective. And I think plausibly we could consider that person to be on the path. And if they have not yet realized the fruits of stream entry, they're following the teachings to the best of their ability, and something has convinced them that that's important to do, and that it's possible to do enough that they have committed themselves to it. So I think whatever it is that convinced them, that seems like the moment at which they enter the path. Anyway, again, I'm speaking my own opinion here, and please don't take me as definitive about that, but that's a personal opinion.
Yeah, still very helpful. Thank you. And also how it connects, how you brought in, how it connects to hiriotapa and self-respect and respect for others. Just having that foundation, like knowing where you come from, what you're a part of. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, I see one question in the chat. Is the heart-mind transformation / purification process more likely as a Sangha member compared to household life? I guess in this case, you mean Sangha member as the bhikkhu or bhikkhuni Sangha. Because certainly if one is part of the Arya Sangha, then they've already begun that heart-mind transformation process. So, the Buddha set up the bhikkhu and bhikkhuni Sangha for a reason. The reason is to give people the conditions where they can most easily commit themselves to this practice full time, and where they can live together in a community that is all doing the same thing, and then that helps to carry the teachings forward in a way, because you can pass it down from one to the next to the next. Whereas if somebody is, maybe a very extremely dedicated practitioner and highly realized, and yet living at home, they may not have the opportunity to be teaching and training the next generation in quite the same way, to be passing it on, so that whereas being part of a community is particularly good and strong for like maintaining the Dhamma for the long term. So those are the two reasons why, in my understanding, there is a bhikkhu and bhikkhuni sangha. The one reason about providing the best conditions for awakening, I think it's variable. Like, the intention certainly is to provide the best possible conditions for awakening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that for any given individual that will be so. Like, I think people can make a lot of progress on the path in household life. I know some people who are living a household life where they are just highly, highly dedicated to the path, that they are living at home, but they're living a highly ethical life. They're living a life that has a fair degree of sense restraint. They're really focused on their meditation practice. They're focused on their heart qualities of generosity and giving and kindness. They're focused on simplicity, and they're able to do that. They're able to sort of set up their lives to be, make the practice the center of their life. It's not, they practice in order to live their life. It's like they live their life in order to practice. And if somebody is able to do that at home, then I don't particularly see a reason why they need to go into a monastery. Monasteries also have a variety of distractions in them. And so, in any individual case, I don't want to say which way is the best one. But sort of on the broad level, in the aggregate, for the average person, I do think that it will be more likely that if you're living a Dhamma life in a community of others, as in the Bhikkhu or Bhikkhuni Sangha, that you will make more progress that way. Personally, I feel like I need to be here. Like, I needed because I couldn't do that at home. I wasn't able to make myself organize my life in quite that way when I was living the household life. And so I needed to go to the monastery for remedial training. It wasn't because I was such a great practitioner, it's because I wasn't such a great practitioner, and I sort of needed the extra support if I was going to try to dedicate myself to this. And so for me, personally, yes, I think I feel like my heart and mind are transforming much more here they would have if I were in lay life. And that's me. And I think it's not uncommon, but I also don't want to make any blanket declaration that everyone must go into monastic life to make progress on the path. That's certainly not true. And again, the Buddha did say that even, there were those in the household life among men and women who were well practiced, who were learned, who were wise, who were capable, who had realized stages of the path. There's debate about whether one can become fully awakened in household life. It might be that for the final stage of becoming an arahant, well, you just wouldn't have any purpose to be in household life after that. So it would kind of be a natural progression that you would be going forth, even if you had awakened as an arahant in household life. But at least up to that stage, there are records in the suttas of those up to the third stage of non-return, living a household life. And that's a pretty high stage. So yeah, those are my thoughts. But you really do have to make the practice the center of your life if you want to make this kind of transformation. It can't be just a side project. It can't just be for, an hour of stress relief once a week. Not that that's bad. I'm not discouraging that if that's what this is for you, but for the deep transformation of heart and mind, it really does have to be at the center of your life one way or another. So, all right. Well, we are over our time here, but okay, I see one more question. And anyone who needs to go, please, I won't be offended if you step out, but I'll also stay for more questions. Another question in the chat. Can gaining stream entry be uncomfortable experience for some? Does it take the body and the mind time to metabolize and stabilize a new way of being / seeing? Well, I want to say I have not surveyed all the stream enterers in the world to ask them this question. And I don't feel I am myself necessarily qualified to judge who is a stream enterer or not. So with those caveats, I can say something about what I've heard other people say about this question. What comes to mind is a description from the late Venerable Ayakema, great Bhikkhuni, Dhamma teacher, meditation teacher she's passed away now. She passed away in 1997, I think. And but she was a great, famous meditation and Dhamma teacher. And I heard one talk of hers where she was speaking about the stages of the path and talking about her metaphor, simile for this transformation is like, you're standing on one side of a river and there's a rope that you can use to swing across to the other side. And, it takes some effort. Well, actually, was it a rope or was it just a jump? Anyway, it takes some effort to get across. It takes some acrobatics. You have to like really get up in the air and get on that rope and swing, or maybe she was just jumping, I forget. Anyway, you have to take a good running start and a leap, and you land on the other side and you make it. But maybe you didn't quite stick the landing, maybe, and you're, maybe it takes you a minute to sort of get your footing again afterwards. And also you're in new territory, like you've never been on the other side of the river before. And you have to kind of look around and find out where you are and what's going on over here. And so, yeah, it is like a whole new way of being. And it is sort of a shock to the system, like all your previous habits, need to be reviewed. Suddenly everything is sort of in question, all the things that you thought were yourself, all the things that seemed important. It's like suddenly you have this new knowledge and like everything needs to be reviewed in the light of that new knowledge. And yeah, it is sort of an unsettling time. You probably can't go on with everything exactly the way it was before. Something will have to change. And it may take some time to figure out, like, what does that look like? What do I have to do next? In a way, clearly. At stream entry, you lose all doubt about what is the path and what is not the path. You know the path for yourself, and you're able to be independent in the training. You don't need a teacher anymore to tell you. It's still helpful to have a teacher. There's still a lot you have to learn, and it's helpful to have a teacher. But in principle, you know enough that you can figure it out for yourself from that point. But you have to kind of, you have to sit down and really look at things. It's like, okay, now that I know this, now that I see this, how do I revise? How do I change the way I'm living? How do I direct myself so that my life really is pointed towards the path that I now know? But how do I actually walk that path now that I've found it? So yeah, those are some thoughts. All right. Anyway, any further questions? All right.
I think walking any path, is one step at a time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yes, it is a gradual path. The Buddha taught this as a gradual path. And these teachings about the stages of the path are not to make us discouraged if we think we're not far enough along, or proud if we think we are really far along. It's not that. It's just to know, this is a path and this is the map, and others have walked it and we can too. We can see that some of them are way ahead of us. They've already made it to the mountaintop, and maybe we're looking from a distance, but we can see they're waving a flag up there on the mountain. Right? It's just to know that there is a path, that there is a way that others can walk it, and we can too. And that's the purpose of this Sanghanusati, and purpose of commemorating the arahants, remembering them, remembering their qualities, and the amazing things that they've done in the world. So once again, our respect to Arahant Sanghamitta Teri, our respects to Arahant Anulatisa Teri, our respects to the Buddha and the whole of the Noble Sangha, and the Dhamma that works in their hearts and our hearts and makes it all possible. And with that, we can close. We'll once more pay our respects to Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha together. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, I render homage to the Buddha, the blessed one. The teachings so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dhamma. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, I bow to the Sangha.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone, for
Aya.
joining. And welcome to join us also for Sutta study this afternoon from 1 to 2:30. And then anyone who would like to come in person, who is local, we will have the opportunity after the Sutta study today for Bodhi Puja, that is honoring the Bodhi tree, which we have, we've decorated our Bodhi tree. We can have a little honor for the Bodhi tree, and also some time of sitting together in meditation with the sacred relics of our Arahant Teris. So welcome to join us after that program if you're able to come in person. And thank you all.